Now, there is a huge and monumental and very important difference between accepting people's flaws and lowering our standards. And this is an important lesson that we have to teach our children young. My name is Adam. I go by Coach Hardgains because that's the name of my coaching platform. I've been coaching bodybuilding, current and recovering drug addiction, as well as mentoring youth for over 25 years. I have run and instructed anti-bullying programs, taught self-defense, taught intro to firearms, but I specialize in bodybuilding, addiction recovery, and youth mentorship. But I'm also a father of 6 and a single father of 5 under the age of 18 on a daily basis, providing for, instructing, teaching, guiding, and everything in between on my own. And this channel here is dedicated to teaching a lot of the lessons that I've learned along the way, maybe some of the mistakes I've made along the way, and even some questions that I may have to pose to you along the way of my journey. Now, accepting people's flaws. This is so important and crucial for us to teach our children young, because we all have flaws. None of us is even close to perfect. And we never will be. We know that we're all going to make mistakes. We need to teach our children it's okay to make mistakes. But what we do after we make those mistakes is what is so crucial. Now that's kind of a separate topic than this here. So we'll address that in another video. But accepting people's flaws is important. But lowering our standards to meet someone else's or other people's, or a friend group, or anyone else is not something that they have to do. And making sure that they know they don't have to lower their standards in order to show that they are accepting of someone else's flaws. I am as imperfect as it gets. My children know that. I let them see that. I teach them that, and I tell them that, and I remind them that. But I'm trying every day, striving to be better. But I would never want my children to lower the standards that I have taught them to have, instilled in them, just to meet someone else at those lower standards, or just to be accepted by others. Now, flaws and mistakes and shortcomings and imperfections, and these are expected. We all have them, we're all going to have them. But teaching our children the standards that they should maintain and expect from the people they associate with, and especially from the future partner they plan to marry. This is so important. And in teaching our children not to lower their standards, it will allow them to build the strength and confidence to maintain their own standards, to maintain the standards that we as parents have instilled in them. And doing that without going around saying, oh, well, I don't do that because I'm better than you. That's entirely different than saying to someone, you know what? I understand if that's what you choose to do, but I don't. And that's my belief. It's completely different. Now, I had 4 sons before I had 2 daughters. A little while back, one of my sons came to me and he said, Dad, a lot of my friends are swearing a lot because he's getting older. He's now in high school. And he said, they're my friends and I like them, but I feel like the more I'm around them, the harder it is for me not to swear. And I said, well, son, what's more important? Being around these people, facing that temptation, possibly even picking up that habit, making it harder to stop once developed, or maintaining the standard that you have for yourself not to use certain language. Now, see, I come from a completely different place than my children. Where I come from, everyone swore. Everyone I was around swore. And as I got older, I decided I don't want to swear because I don't want to ever swear in front of my children. So I had to make the decision to cut certain people out of my life. I had to make the decision to walk away from certain people that were pretty much my best friends at the time. And there were even family members that I had to choose to stop being around. But I made that choice in order to maintain my standard, the standard that I set for myself of the father that I wanted to eventually become. And see, I was in an industry where everybody used foul language. On top of coaching, I've been in the music industry for many, many years. And colorful language is abundant. But I had to make the decision to cut off certain relationships that were actually pretty important at that time. But I did so because I knew that in my heart, if I continued down that road, it wouldn't end well for me. And that was the decision that I had to make. Now, that wasn't an easy decision. In fact, it was a very hard decision, and there were a lot of other factors involved. So we'll save those. So we'll save that for another video that's all about that. But let's remind our children, flaws are unavoidable. In fact, flaws are what make us who we are. Flaws make us human. And it's okay to have flaws. And it's okay to accept others for those flaws. But lowering your standard of the person you want to be or become just to fit in somewhere else or fit in with someone else will undoubtedly turn into something negative for you. Because the statistics have shown that when we have standards up here and we meet people with standards down here, and if we come down here hoping that we're going to bring them up with us to our standard, it usually doesn't end that way. Because it usually ends the opposite. They bring us down to their level. And then we have to accept that lower standard of life. And in some cases, that's a choice that we have to live the rest of our lives with. So that's why it's so important to teach our kids early on. Everyone will have flaws. Even you. Everyone will make mistakes. Even you. But maintain your standards of the person you want to be. Don't lower your standards just to suit or comfort anyone else.